Hello everyone, I want to thank you for joining me. This is Martin with MyIeltsTutor. Today we're going to talk about IELTS essays, writing task 2, and we're specifically going to talk about how to write the 2 views essay. This is one of the, I believe, 6 essay types that you can get for the IELTS writing task 2. Let's begin. Now, for the 2 view essays, you have several expectations. The first is that you provide a clear opinion for each viewpoint, for which viewpoint you agree with. Then you provide clear reasons for each view. And you want to make sure you use these 3 things and make sure that they're very specific. Then you want to provide a clear explanation of why you agree with one particular viewpoint. Next, you want to write a minimum of 250 words, and then you want to have clearly written paragraphs of the appropriate format, such as what I have written down here, okay? Make sure that you have those. So, and here you can see that I recommend 3 body paragraphs. That would be helpful to get you over 250 words, and that's what you want to do. Okay, now moving on. Your time allotment is 40 minutes. This means you have 40 minutes to do the task. This leaves you roughly 8 minutes or less, and I really recommend that you do the planning in less than 8 minutes, preferably 5 minutes or less. Okay, then you have at least 30 minutes to write, and you want to really, 30 minutes or a few more minutes, 30 to 35 minutes for writing. And then save time, about 2 minutes at the end, to edit and proofread your work, correct any mistakes. And then if you do finish early, use that remaining time to edit. Now, moving on, planning the essay. These are the 5 steps you want to use for planning the essay. For more details, I really suggest that you watch the video I've done about how to plan your essay, as well as how to understand the essay prompt. Those go really in depth to what we're going to do here, and you'll understand much better if you watch those videos. And if you already have, watch them again for review. Now, the first step is to understand the essay prompt. Step 2 is to rewrite the topic, paraphrase it. Next is to write your thesis, and you just want to write a short phrase. Step 4 is you want to brainstorm the reasons for both views. And then step 5, you want to organize your paragraphs, particularly your body paragraphs. Now, regarding the thesis, this is an important consideration. The thesis, you have to decide which viewpoint you're going to agree with. Now, you don't have to completely with a particular viewpoint, but you should consider which viewpoint's more about, which one has more strength. And then write about that, support that particular one, because it will be easier for you to do so. Now, next is brainstorming. Question here is, you need to come up with reasons for each viewpoint. Now, how many reasons do you need? Well, there's a minimum of 2. You should have 2 reasons, not 1, but 2 reasons minimum, but no more than 3. Now, consider the time you have to write. 30 to 35 minutes, that's not a lot of time to write a lot of reasons for a particular viewpoint. So keep it to 2 minimum, 3 maximum, okay? And you don't have to have equal number of reasons for each view. You could have 2 reasons for view 1, 3 reasons for view 2, and vice versa. So keep in mind, you don't have to have equal number of reasons for each view. Now, step 1 is understanding the essay prompt, and I have this essay prompt here. So what you really want to do first is understand the topic, the basic topic of it, and that's what I have written down here. The next thing is you want to pull out and understand what the viewpoints are, okay? Because it's important to know what the basic topic is and what each viewpoint is, because you have to write about them in your introduction, in your body paragraphs, as well as in the conclusion. So it's really important that you understand these. And so this is what you do when you take step 1 to understand the essay prompt. Now, step 2, moving on to planning the remaining steps, you want to paraphrase the topic, and you write this in your own words. You take the entire topic, including the viewpoints, and you paraphrase it into your own words. This is a paraphrase that the writer here chose. Now, step 3 is writing down your thesis. Now, the planning stage, all you need to do is, you don't need to write down a sentence, just keep it to a short phrase such as, view 2 is supported, or I agree with view 1, whatever the case may be. Then, of course, step 4 is brainstorming, so you come up with your points. You brainstorm for your points. And so here we have view 1 has 3 reasons, view 2 has 2 reasons, okay? And then step 5, decide on the order of your paragraph. And so, for example, body paragraph 1 is view 1, body paragraph is view 2, and body paragraph view is why view 2 is supported. Now it's time to write. So we write your introduction, and these are the elements that you need to include in your introduction. You need to include a topic statement and your thesis, either the main points or an outline statement. Now, your first example here, the first sentence is the topic with the viewpoints. There's no clear thesis, but it does ask a question. This is not really that great of a introduction because it doesn't have a clear thesis, and you really need to write a clear thesis, okay? But example 2 here is a good one because it clearly states a thesis, and this is in the sense having a more eclectic student body possessing various capabilities is more beneficial to all. That has a clear statement of the thesis, and then it uses an outline statement. The essay will explore both views and explain why it is best for a more inclusive student body. Now, what I really recommend you to do to write a really effective introduction. Now, next, we have the body paragraphs. Now, the number again that we need for body paragraphs, 2 to 3. Now, I recommend 3 because this will help you give a very strong essay, get you over the 250-word limit. You want to consider that you have one body paragraph for each view, and then you have a body paragraph for where you are going to explain your opinion. So, and the order is going to be strongest point first. So if you're going to choose view 1 that you agree with, you might want to start with view 1. Although in this case, it doesn't really matter which view you start with. Whether it's body paragraph 1 is view 1, body paragraph 1 is view 2. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's logical. But this is the suggested format for your body paragraph. It's called a multiple idea body paragraph, and as you can see here, it starts off with a general statement about the viewpoint, and then gives a first reason, then explains using details for an example, and just follows that pattern until you have 3 reasons, and then you give a closing sentence that concludes the paragraph. So, and then of course you have this particular format in terms of the order of the body paragraphs. Now, it might be easier to follow this particular arrangement of body paragraphs, the first one being view 1, second being view 2, and then the third being your explanation of the thesis, because it follows a certain logic in terms of the essay prompt. So it might be easier to do that. It might be better. So now here's an example of the first body paragraph. You can see it starts off the general statement of the topic. It goes into the first reason, and this is followed by explanation. Then it gives a second reason, such as not only this, but class time can proceed. And that's explained there in the same sentence, rather. And then, of course, we have a closing sentence. All right, so paragraph 2 follows the same example. We have our general statement of view 2, followed by a first reason, explanation, and then the next reason, so on and so forth. That multiple idea body paragraph. And then we have our third body paragraph. Again, same idea in terms of the type of format that's used for the body paragraphs. Multiple idea body paragraph. And so This wraps the essay up in terms of the body paragraphs. And now we can go to the conclusion. Now, this is the conclusion. It's the final paragraph. And how you write it, it's a 4-step process. Step 1, you begin with a connector, such as to conclude or in conclusion. Remember, the connector must be formal in tone. Then step 2 is you want to restate the thesis. So you want to paraphrase the thesis. You want to summarize your reasons for the view you chose, and then give an additional opinion or call for action. So for here, we have an example of a conclusion that you can write that's been written for this. And we have here, it starts off with, even when academic performance is the sole criterion for selection, that's kind of your linker. Now, linker can be long phrases, they can be short phrases, single words. For you guys, keep it a little bit more simpler, such as in conclusion. When you become more advanced in writing, you can start playing around a little bit more. But a conclusion should be very clear. Then the next sentence is another general statement about the topic that reinforces the thesis, which is in the next sentence. And then, of course, this is followed by a summary of the reasons. And so that's your conclusion. Okay, so now, to review, remember the 2-view essay, you want to provide a clear opinion of which view is more valid. Okay? Then you want to provide a clear explanation of each viewpoint. Remember, you want to have these 3 specific things. And then provide a clear explanation of why one view is valid. Then, of course, you want to write a 250-word minimum, and then have clearly written paragraphs of the appropriate format as follows. And that's it. You follow these steps, you will write a great 2-view essay. That's it for now. I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me.